So today we're going to look at solving simultaneous equations graphically. The first thing I'd say is if you don't know how to draw graphs, straight line graphs or quadratic graphs, you're going to find this hard. You need to know how to draw a straight line graph and how to draw a quadratic graph. This question's about straight line graphs, the next one's about quadratics. But if you don't just know how to draw them, then you might struggle to understand this. Okay, so this is an exam question and it says the graph of y equals 4 subtract x is shown on the grid. So that's the line you can see on the grid. What they want us to do is draw the graph of, draw the graph of y equals 2x subtract 5. Now, normally what we'd do is we'd draw a table to do that. Now, my x values, there's the x-axis, go from -2 to 5. Just to make it easier for myself, I'm going to choose positive values of x to find the y values of, just because you're more likely to make mistakes with negative numbers, so let's stick with positive numbers as much as we can. So what I'm doing is I'm using this rule up here to find my coordinates. So if I'm saying my x is 0, then my y will come from me doing 2 times 0 subtract 5. I am using this rule. 2 lots of x subtract 5. 2 times 0 is 0, subtract 5. This one must be -5. Next time, I'm going to substitute x is 1 in. So 2 times 1 subtract 5 is 2 subtract 5, which is -3. Now I'm going to substitute the number 2 in. So 2 times 2 is 4, subtract 5 is -1. Now, if I look at this coordinate, I can see that's not going to fit on the graph, so I can't use that one. And to draw a straight line, you have to have 3 points. Otherwise, you're more likely to make a mistake. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a couple more. So 2 times 3 is 6, subtract 5 is 1. And you can actually see a pattern here. These are going up by 2. When my x is 4, I've got 2 times 4 is 8, subtract 5 is 3. So this one won't fit on the graph either. I'm going to plot these points. So I've got 2, -1, that's here. I've got 3, 1, that's here. And I've got 4, 3, that's here. Now, I can't do a ruler on here, but you can. So use a ruler to join those points up really carefully and accurately. And that's the hard bit. Solving these is the easy bit. It's just where they cross. What's the coordinate of the place where they cross? 3, 1. This one is the x value because we are solving it, so we need values for x and y. When they're simultaneous equations, you do need 2 values, x and y, and the y is 1. So the solutions are x equals 3 and y is 1. It's all about being able to draw the graph. If you can draw the graph, you just need to look for where they cross. Now, this one is a more complicated question because it involves a quadratic. What it gives us is the graph of y equals 2x, which is a straight line graph. And what it asks us to do is, by drawing the graph y equals 3x squared subtract 4, we need to work out approximate solutions to 3x squared subtract 4 equals 2x. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw that graph. So we've got y equals 3x squared subtract 4. Make myself a table. I'm going to choose positive values of y just to start with. Now, to get my first value, I'm going to use x is 0. Which is going to give me -4. To get my next value of x, I'm going to use x is 1. 1 squared is 1. You must do the squared first. 1 squared is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 subtract 4 is -1. Then I'm going to do the next one. Now I'm going to substitute 2 into, and I'm using this equation every time. 3 times 2 squared, subtract 4. Must do the squared first, so this is 3 times 4, subtract 4. That's 12, take 4, that's 8. Now, because this is a quadratic graph, what I've done is not going to work. So we've got negative, I'll do a different colour. We've got 0, -4. We've got 1, -1. We've got 2, 8. Can you see? I haven't got a full graph. So here I am actually going to have to substitute these numbers in as well, because this is going to be a curved graph, and at the minute I can't go any further than here, and I need to be able to go further than that. That's a really dodgy line, by the way. You need to be more careful than that drawing yours. I'll just rub that one out till I've got more values. Okay. Right, so I need to substitute these other numbers in. I need -1. Sorry, I'm running out of space. We've got 3 times, be careful with this bit. Now, your quadratic graphs are much harder to draw. Much harder to draw. That's going to be -1. Now I'm going to use the value -2. And make sure you're understanding where I'm getting these numbers from. -2 squared, that means -2 multiplied by -2, which is a +4. So that one's going to be 8. So we've got, do it in blue, -1, -1, I'm doing this coordinate. And we've got -2, 8. Now I can draw this now. Okay, it's hard, slightly harder to do it on a computer screen, but I will try. Okay, now I have to turn it on its side to draw this. Okay, it's much better than before. Now, again, that was the hard bit. All they want me to do now is estimate the values here. Now, I'm just going to rub some of my other stuff out because I'm struggling to have enough space. Right. So what they're doing now, they want me to estimate these coordinates. So I'm going to go with this one. And remember, I don't want a coordinate. I want values of x and values of y. So that coordinate there, I'm going to go that x is 1.8. And because we're estimating, it's fine if your graph looks slightly different to someone else's. As long as all your numbers are accurate, your plotting's accurate, your drawing's accurate. And my y is going to be 3.6. Now this point, I'm looking here. And I'm going to say the x is negative. I'm going to go 0.85 there. And I'm going to say the y is negative 1.7. Now that one is quite a bit harder. And there's not that many exam questions like this. But what I would say is if you're struggling with this, it's about being able to draw the graph. If you can draw the graph, seeing where it crosses is easy. You've got to be able to draw these graphs. If you want to do some practice questions, then I'd recommend these 4 Hegarty Maths clips. Now, the only thing is, because it's so visual, these clips aren't as good as some of the other ones because it is heavily reliant on the graph, and often having the graph in front of you, like on a past paper, is much easier. However, if you're struggling drawing straight line graphs, it's Hegarty Maths 206. If you're struggling drawing quadratic graphs, it's Hegarty Maths 251. Solving simultaneous equations where there's 2 straight lines, like the first example I did, is Hegarty 218. And solving simultaneous equations when one is quadratic and one is linear is Hegarty 259.